Okay. Well, we are live, and we're not going to waste any time. This is the Essential Wrestling Podcast, episode number 75. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Essential Wrestling Podcast. This is the 75th edition. I'm your host for the night, Ryan Joy, Karl. It's been a minute since he's missed a show, but he's off on assignment on Long Island building ice sculptures like he typically does this time of year. And in the first segment of the show today, we're going to have Gary Mehaffy. Gary, how are things going?
No, not too bad. Things are going well.
All right. So we're going to be kicking things off with NXT UK, but we have a stacked show today. Lots of stuff to get through. The tag team of John Smith and John DeConnie will be joining us a bit later on. We'll make our picks for the week's show. Stats and graphics are presented by minutestobelltime.com, and picks are sponsored by ProWrestlingPick'em.com. We'll be main eventing today's show with our recap of Knockouts Knockdown, the all-women's pay-per-view from Impact Wrestling that occurred on Saturday. We also have the current standings of the King of the Ring and the Queen's Crown tournaments. Hangman Page returned in glorious fashion on AEW Dynamite. We have some NXT matches to discuss, which have Halloween Havoc implications. But as I said, we're going to curtain jerk the show in a strange way. We're going to hop the Atlantic and start our proceedings with Gary and NXT UK. And Gary, we got a hot start here because your favorite wrestler appears to be getting an NXT UK Women's Championship match in the very near future. Ginny gets a win over Amelia McKenzie.
Yes.
And then she issues the challenge to Mako Satomura. What do you make of the situation?
I'm hopeful. Do you know all these 1 minute matches we've been having on Raw? I'm hopeful that's what we'll have here. No, it's like to be fair, and I will give her due. They have done well to kind of not rehab Jenny, but obviously they had her involved with Aoife for a while and so on. But they've given her the win. They've made her look strong. They need somebody for Mako, and she does have that presence. She's been. I'm not saying main event as such on the NXT UK, but she's certainly been top rung enough among the women for a long enough time. And so they'll cycle her in and give her a go. I can't see her winning. I can't see her taking the title by any stretch. But as I say, I'll give her due, and she's looked quite good. There's a few of the matches that she's had recently. She's certainly looked stronger. That they've sort of gone more to her strengths, let's say. So
she went about 7.5 minutes with Amelia McKenzie on the last show, and so it sounds to me like your cold dead heart is softening on Ginny, and that you might be coming around. You must like the Joseph Connors presentation and everything. Right?
See, that's what it was when they put her with him. I'm a Joseph Connors fan. He needed something. I haven't seen him live a few times wrestling. He's tremendous live. He just needed something. When they hooked them together, I thought, okay, this is a partnership that could work, which worried me because I was at that point I couldn't have seen Jenny far enough. But say I do, it's done well, and they've rehabbed her a little bit with the few losses that she'd had. So it'll be interesting to see, and I think it'll probably be. I would imagine that it should be roughly the best match that she's had, probably in NXT UK. I would imagine.
Yeah, probably so. But we don't have to pick that match yet because we don't actually have it scheduled. So you can reserve your pick. You may change your mind over the next week or so, and you might be picking Jenny before this all comes to a head. But one match we do have for next week. See, Blair Davenport was reinstated, much to Sid Scala's, hesitation, and he was reserved about it, but it's only because Stevie Turner has demanded a match with Blair Davenport. So Blair Davenport's reinstated. We do get Stevie Turner versus Blair Davenport this week on NXT UK. Does Stevie Turner have a shot?
No. Next question. No, I mean, I'm surprised because I had, when you saw Stevie Turner on the go, certainly in the last few weeks, or initially the last month or two, you were going, okay, she's a heel and she's very cocky. And then all of a sudden I was like, I know Blair took her out, and now Stevie's looking at a match. I went, is she like the de facto baby face in this? Like, what's going on? So I can't see that she does. I think that it'll be now. I don't think we're building to a Blair Davenport Sid Scala match by any stretch, but I think now that she's been reinstated, I think that she'll absolutely go through Stevie Turner and will be like, well, this is what happens. It would have been worse if you didn't have me here, Sid, but now I'm back. And she kind of just goes through everybody. And I do think that's, I was going to say long term, but almost short term match. They're going to be heading to Blair Davenport, may take a few people out. And then Mako, after she's had the Jenny match, will step up and go, you think you're going through everybody, now you have to go through me.
Well, this is what I was wondering about. Like, who is the setup person, right? Because I think Blair Davenport is probably, she's going to get in a quick program with Mako before very long. But who is, like, what victories does she have to have? What notches on the belt does she have to have in order to make that, a reality? Because management's not going to want to give her that match, right? Skid Scala's not going to be like, oh, let me hurry up and program you with Mako since you stopped beating on me, right? So
I mean, to me, it'll be whether they go to, as I say, Amelia McKenzie, if they kind of go through, because she's obviously the protege in inverted commas. So if she goes through Millie, and if she starts to goad Mako more than anything, if like Sid doesn't want to give her the match and does this sort of stuff, and if she's goading her, and then Mako cracks and she almost goes and demands the match more than anything, maybe they could well go that way. So.
That seems Blair's style.
Yeah.
All right, so we have Sam Gradwell and Mark Andrews had a match on the show. Sam Gradwell gets a win here. It's funny, for all the effort that they're putting around the repackaging of Andrews and Webster and Donnie Luna, Mark Andrews isn't finding his way into the victory lane very often.
I know, and I'm a massive Mark Andrews is amazing. I'm such a fan of his. Although I will say, Sam Gradwell is one of these ones, and Al and I have talked about it before, that when he kind of came back on the scene, man, I could do without him calling people a yogurt. That does my head in, but that personally. But when he started back on, when he came back from his injury, and I thought, why are you employed here still? What are you like? I don't see a future for you here. But the last 6 months, I would say he has really upped his game, come out, develop more of his personality, and then they gave him a little chance, and then when they gave him a slight chance, he took that and he has built on it. So while I would love to have seen Mark Andrews go over, because I'm a big subculture fan and I think that grouping is really good, I have, I'll say, as much as I would have loved him to have won it, I am warming to Sam Gradwell, not quite, not Jenny, not to the same extent, but I'm warming to Sam Gradwell as far as going. He is turning it up. He is wrestles well in the ring. He is really putting the hours in. He's got himself down. He's got a good act. And so therefore you go, okay, let's see what they do with him. So
I think what we are learning in this episode, that it is in fact true. Your cold, dead Irish black heart is starting to warm up to some of the people that you've overlooked in the past, I guess. So we had the finals of the Heritage Cup tournament, and this was fun because we saw some different finishes here. We saw some almost finishes here on two different occasions. Round two, Noam Dar rolls up Wolfgang, hooks the tights, gets ahead. Wolfgang comes back in round three, immediately spears him and ends the round. The next two rounds, there were close calls, right? Round four, Wolfgang was narrowly counted out, and the round ended. And in the round after that, Wolfgang hit a spear, and before the referee could count to three, the round ended. That brings us to the final round, Gary. Noam Dar, not one, but two Nova rollers to put down Wolfgang. So Noam Dar, apparently we're going to get Noam Dar and Tyler Bate here before too long.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait, which will be an absolutely outstanding match. But as you said, the story they told in this, because when I saw the brackets and I thought, how far is Wolfgang going to go? And then as he won one match, I was like, and they got to the finals, I was like, okay, what story are they going to tell with it? And I do think I thought from the last time in the semi-final match, I thought he was carrying an injury, and I thought we'll see kind of where it goes. But as you say, the way that they did this and the way that they told it, and especially with that third round as you say, 5 seconds straight out, bell rings, boom, spear, boom, pin. You're like, okay. They built and built, and every round told a different story. And that's why I remember from back when this started and they went to do the round stuff, I remember saying to Al when he was asking me about it, I said, like, you can tell such a story through these matches. People sort of think it's 3 minutes, it's very stop-start. I was like, you don't. And even as you've seen, the times in between the rounds when the wrestlers are exhausted and they're trying to be propped up at the corner by their seconds, and all of a sudden the bell goes for the start of the next round and they haven't got their breath back, you're telling the story in between the rounds as well. So they did this. I think they gave Wolfgang enough that he didn't lose anything by losing the match in inverted commas. In fact, he's come out of it quite strong as far as being a singles wrestler, I think. But Noam Dar, without a doubt, you could well imagine him if he gets the Heritage Cup when they finally have the match, just having supernova sessions and sitting with the pride of place on the settee beside him, just the trophy sitting there. So
I do agree with you. I think that both guys come out of this a lot further advanced than what they were before, because Noam Dar getting a win over Wolfgang and the way he was presented, Wolfgang was presented kind of like a big guy, like a hulking guy, monster guy, huge size advantage over Noam Dar, and he gets that win. So it's a very interesting win for Noam Dar, and it kind of put Wolfgang on the map a little bit. But he was a tag champion, but he didn't really have a good singles run at all in NXT UK. And this, just making it as far as he did and having a good quality match in the end here, I think it puts him on the map a little bit, and he's got to be taken a little bit more seriously. So
yeah, definitely. And I actually think for somebody like Wolfgang, I'd seen it was a couple of years ago, ICW were across here partnering with local promotion to do a show, and the ICW guys stayed afterwards, and he'd been across. And actually, he's somebody that when there's a crowd there, and I would say that all the Gallus boys are like this, that when there are fans there and there's a crowd in, he reacts really well with the crowd and then feeds off the crowd, and they it's a real good back and forward and a good vibe. So for somebody like him, now that they're starting to let fans back into the shows over here, I think for him, he could not nearly have picked a better time to be starting as a singles guy, I think.
Yeah. Well, we've sufficiently buried the lead in the NXT UK segment, right? Because this coming week, we have an NXT UK Championship match. It's Ilya Dragunov's first defense against A Kid. Karl says Ilya Dragunov, he can lose right now. He's beat Walter. He took down the longest reigning champ in modern history. So he has nothing left to prove. He can lose right here. Yeah. Any thoughts on that? You think that's what's going to happen here, or you think Dragunov is going to?
I don't think it will. The only way that I thought that it could have happened was if after the match at TakeOver with Walter, that if Vince saw it and thought, I need him across in the States. Look how you can beat Dragunov up and his body turns red instead of white. Oh, look at this! This is great. But I know what Al was saying about how it would make A Kid in one night that Dragunov doesn't need the 800-day whatever title reign, like the long title reign that Walter had. But I don't think that'll happen. I can't see A Kid taking it. I think that's something that will happen. That there may be some sort of, whether there's interference or whether there's whatever, or may well just be clean. They might just put Dragunov over clean and say, again, much like Wolfgang and Noam Dar, that even by the loss, A Kid gets brought up a level because now he's in that echelon. He's in the main event mix. He's up in there. I can't see that A Kid will go over. I would say they'll keep it on Dragunov for a few months.
You know, the problem I see with A Kid is I think he's great in this spot. But if you look at his career long term, he's just not the size that they're going to appreciate outside of NXT UK, I think, at this point. So it's so he's got a tough road ahead. So he needs to have like really solid, compelling matches here that make the powers that be see something really unique in him.
Yeah.
To overcome his size and everything. So
yeah.
Best of luck to him, I guess. Yeah, I'm going to go Ilya Dragunov on this one. All right, Gary, did I leave out anything in the NXT UK realm that we need to chat about?
No, I mean, as I say, I think that it'll be interesting just to see this week coming up because, as we've said, there'll be their fans back this week when they did the taping, so there'll be a few fans back. So at least rather than just the empty BT studios, we'll actually have the fans there to be able to react off the wrestlers and for them to react. And as I say, as far as I know, I was saying to you backstage before we started that I was talking to somebody from the roster who said that they feel that the shows look really good with the fans. They've come off really well. So hopefully everything goes well. I'm looking forward to seeing it on Thursday night.
Yeah, me too. I think the UK crowd is something very unique in comparison to all the other WWE products. You're not going to see the same excitement from a regular NXT or even a Raw or SmackDown crowd. So hopefully we get all that energy right back this week.
Yeah.
And then we will never want to go back to empty arenas for anything ever again. So did you see the big egg on Drew McIntyre's forehead at the conclusion of Monday Night Raw last night? Oh my God.
The thing is, I haven't seen Raw, but I saw the still. He had it on his Instagram. I saw the picture. I was like, "Good grief!" Well, I didn't see how it happened. I just saw it. It's a proper bump.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be ready for Saudi Arabia, Gary. All right, Gary, we will wish you adieu or bid you adieu, as the Kenny Omega says.
Yeah.
And we'll cross the Atlantic and bring in the Johns. Thank you, Gary, and we'll see you next time.
Have a good one. I shall see you later.
All right. In comes John and John. All right, guys. Welcome to the show, John Smith. How are things going?
Oh, I can't complain. Just been brushing up on my NXT from last week while I was backstage because it's been a week since I saw it.
Yeah, it is tough to remember everything that happened a week ago. John DeConnie, how things going with you at the bottom side of our screen?
Not bad, not bad. I'm loving having a good day so far. We're talking wrestling.
All right, well, let's kick off NXT proper, the North American edition, I guess. John DeConnie, Mandy Rose, and Ember Moon kick off the show last week.
Yes, indeed. And we had Gigi and JC around ringside, and they were, getting their shot. One would distract the ref. The other one would get a shot in on Ember whenever they could. Mandy, most importantly, managed to avoid the eclipse, and she countered with that jumping knee, which she's either very good at or very stiff at, because it always looks really good and really, really rough. And she gets the win in about 4.5 minutes. So she gets a win over a former champion. That's great for her career. And then she gets reminded later in the evening when Raquel makes her way out to the ring after their little brush last week. Raquel says, if she ever touches my title again, she's not going to be posing for Instagram. She's not going to be posing for TikTok. She's going to be posing for a full body cast. Raquel does not like anyone touching her gold. So the Toxic Attraction girls make their way out once again. They circle the ring. Of course, it's only on 3 sides, but, this is wrestling, so we can pretend like we don't pay attention to the fact that there's a clear escape route. But Zoe and Io make their way out to get Raquel's back. And the Toxic Attraction girls kind of changed their mind. They got to back off. So, we're obviously headed down the line to Raquel and Mandy, and that'll be a very interesting matchup when we get there.
John Smith, I know that you've done an extensive analysis of the WWE's women's division across all brands, and this was the match that you had picked out, right? This is the one that you wanted to see most when you looked at all the rosters and said, let's bring somebody down from the main roster to face Raquel. Mandy Rose was the person you picked, right?
I was like, wait a second, is he being real? No, definitely not. I like this new attitude on her. I'm not gonna, talk crap about the girl, but she's still got a lot of work to do in the ring before she's on even Ember Moon's level, and I'm not an Ember Moon fan.
Well, she got W over Ember Moon, so in somebody's rankings, she's a little higher. But John Smith, I was sure that LA Knight and Odyssey Jones would get drafted. Almost sure. Well, neither of them did, and they both competed on NXT 2.0 last week.
Yeah, I didn't even consider LA Knight, but Odyssey Jones, I thought there was a really good chance of him getting called up. Vince loves guys like that, but I'm happy he stayed because he's a good addition. We need a good big man on the NXT roster. You got mostly smaller guys, so we get Knight and Odyssey. It starts with your typical big man, small man stuff. Knight running around, getting shots in, bragging about it, and then Odyssey finally gets his hands on him. Then Knight turns the tables with like a knee kick into the turnbuckle. Then we get Knight on top for quite a while until we get the comeback from Odyssey. But then Andre Chase makes his presence felt by just jumping up on the ring apron and standing on the rope and just getting Odyssey's attention. We get a neck breaker from LA Knight with the assist from Andre Chase throwing Odyssey's leg back from under the rope. And we get the 1-2-3 with the victory for LA Knight. Very surprising.
Yeah, because you think that Odyssey Jones is the guy that's getting the push here, but we're building the Andre Chase program with Odyssey Jones, I guess. So, all right. Well, Tomasa Champa, he announced that Halloween Havoc is coming back October 26th, and he was looking for a challenger who had the balls to step up. Well, Braun Breaker said he apparently has those balls. So he has stepped up. Meanwhile, Joe Gacy got a win over Ike Manjiro on the show, and Gacy thought it wasn't necessarily great that Champa said, you have to have enough balls to be in to get a match. So he didn't like the way he approached it. So now on NXT this week, we have Tomasa Ciampa versus Joe Gacy. The Halloween Havoc title match is on the line. If Gacy beats Ciampa, then Gacy is added to the Halloween Havoc title match between Ciampa and Breaker. So here we go. And John Smith, I'm going to throw it to you first for the pick in Ciampa versus Gacy. And as I do remember that Gacy got a little look from Harland, the former Parker Bordeaux, on the show as well.
Oh yeah, from the crowd. I mean, so I didn't have any clue who that guy was until you just mentioned him. I still don't know the name, but he looks pretty scary. It's like 2021 version of Nails.
Most people say Brock Lesnar, so that's interesting that you said Nails.
Well, just like the whole like creepy guy in the crowd thing. I like Tommaso Ciampa to win this match, and probably even that guy comes. What's his name again?
Harland
Harland.
Harland is his new name. Yeah.
Yeah. So Harland will probably get involved. Whether he doesn't need to. Ciampa will probably win clean anyway, and then Harland might come out and beat Joe Gacy up afterwards.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like that's a eventuality we might well see. John DeConnie.
Yeah. I was trying to think of a reason why or how they could put Joe Gacy into this match, but it's probably best that they don't make it a three-way. But yeah, the only way I could come up with Gacy beating Ciampa would be if Harlan made his way to ringside, punched him in the face, and he won by DQ. So, but I think it's going to be Ciampa winning clean, just like Smith said.
All right, I'm gonna pick Joe Gacy, and it's not because I think Joe Gacy is in a position where he gets a pin or a submission over Ciampa. That's not going to happen. John DeConnie, you might have been onto something here, but ultimately, we're talking about the Halloween Havoc match. I don't know that I think they want to push Braun Breaker, but I don't think they want Braun Breaker to pin Ciampa. Or if they don't want to put the belt on Breaker quite yet, I don't think they want to pin or submit him. So they need somebody else in that match to take a pin or submission if it's going to end clean and build up to Halloween Havoc. You better not have too dirty of a finish. So I'm picking Joe Gacy to get into the Halloween Havoc match.
He's going to Daniel Bryan his way right in there.
All right. So we go from probably the most interesting thing on the program to John Smith. What's going on with Cora Jade and Frankie Monet?
Oh, I thought you were saying like I was the alternative to the best thing.
Well, read into it as you will.
Yeah, so we get Cora Jade versus Virginia Ferry. No, No, we get Frankie Monet taking Virginia Ferry out as quickly as her name could pop up on the screen. She gets glam slammed on the outside, and then Frankie takes her place. So Cora Jade, whatever, fine. She takes the match. Frankie literally was on the offensive every second of the match except for one knee that Cora Jade threw when Frankie was going to hit her in the corner. And then Frankie just speared her right after that, picks her up for the glam slam. And what do we get? A Raw roll-up on NXT 2.0. And the victory for Cora Jade.
Who's booking this stuff?
Right?
James Wheeler chiming in. Tony D'Angelo is perfection. I'll let the guys respond to that. He did get a win over Malik Blade, I guess, on the show. So
I definitely like the gimmick. He reminds me of about 40 guys that I know personally, and about like half of the state of New Jersey in general.
John Smith's parents work in waste management also.
That's how I got the name John Smith. I'm in witness protection.
I love that. All right. Well, Pete Dunne, he managed to get himself a win over Cameron Grimes, but there was a lot of foolishness that was happening on the outside and whatnot. Kyle O'Reilly, he attacked Ridge Holland, who was ringside for the match. He then attacked Pete Dunne after the match. Holland made the save. Later, we find out that it's going to be this week. We have a tag team match play. Teddy Long was visiting. So we have Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner versus Ridge Holland and Pete Dunne. And we do have a graphic in case you don't know yet, because you've tuned out for the last month, who Von Wagner is. There he is. There he is. So Pete Dunne and Ridge Holland versus Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner. John DeConnie, who do you got?
Give me O'Reilly and Cro-Magnon man over there, Von Wagner.
Exactly.
John Smith.
That's exactly what I was going to call him, actually, John. I was going to call him Cro-Magnon man. You know what? I think Von Wagner is going to hit Kyle O'Reilly by mistake, and they'll end up losing because of it, and then it'll progress into the two of them fighting each other at Halloween Havoc.
Interesting. I'm gonna pick Dunne Holland here. I think this is one of those situations where Ridge Holland got called up. I don't think he's doing a favor on the way out of town. I think he's gonna probably get a big win on the way out of town, and it might just be this tag match. I think he might pin Kyle O'Reilly here to kind of build his resume some. So. I mentioned Tony D'Angelo. He defeated Malik Blade. Indy Hartwell defeated Mei Ying. Not Mei Young. Mei Ying.
Although she is much older than Mae Young.
That's right. The oldest woman in the women's division. See, I told you guys that John Smith did his homework on that division. So he knows these things.
She's literally the oldest woman in the world, dude.
Right. Thousands of years old. John DeConnie main event was a tag team title fatal 4-way match. Not what was advertised, right? We thought we were getting an 8-man tag, but
yeah, first it was an 8-man tag, then it was a 4-way match, and then GYV got in MSK's face and said, well, you only made it a 4-way match because you know you can't beat us one-on-one. So then MSK said, okay, let's make it a 4-way elimination match. So eventually one of us will have to pin the other or something to that effect. You know, you'll get your fair shake. Well, we had MSK retaining. They would eliminate Hayes and Trick early on with end transmission. Then Briggs and Jensen would break out a new 2-man finisher, kind of a choke slam with a sit-out power bomb. They would catch Gibson with that to eliminate GYV. And then we were down to Jensen and Briggs versus MSK, and Wesley would counter that same attempted chokeslam sit-out powerbomb with a Hurricane Rana and the old Raw roll-up, 12 and a half minutes, and MSK retains. And afterwards, there is a show of sportsmanship, the little handshake and a hug between Jensen, Briggs, and MSK. And then Jensen and Briggs roll out, and Imperium attacks MSK. They leave them laying, and Jensen and Briggs run right back in like Humberto Carrillo about 30 seconds too late. So they're there for their buddies, but just not on time.
Right. Well, they may be barroom brawlers, but they're certainly no acolyte protection agency. So give them time. And the very well groomed John Smith can do the honors in picking the North American Championship match between Santos Escobar and Isaiah Swerve Scott. We don't have a good lead into that match. It's just a match that's going to be on the card here. So here we go. John Smith, Santos is your guy. Swerve just got the call up. What's that? Is that going to be a win for Santos?
Yeah, all signs point to Santos winning this, just the way the whole angle's been going to begin with. So, I got to go with Santos on this one.
Okay, John DeConnie, is there a strange occurrence that could happen here where Swerve Scott takes that belt to SmackDown?
I mean, anything's possible when it comes to Vince. He could see it, like it, covet it, and decide he's just going to take it. But I think it would be awkward if Santos didn't come away with the victory here. And after all, Mexico's part of North America. Santos deserves that title.
There, just ask him. I would agree. I think Santos gets the win here for sure. James Wheeler says Escobar needs to win so the Hit Row can get a fresh start on SmackDown. Yeah, I mean, is he going to go straight for the Intercontinental Championship once he gets there? I mean, if he loses the North American Championship here,
I think they're gonna show up there as heels. I don't think they're gonna make them faces on the main roster, at least not right away. Because I think that was the original plan in NXT, and they just got overs, so they had to make a left turn with it, which is fine. But I think because nobody knows them, and the SmackDown or the main roster audience isn't as like smart or whatever you want to call it. I think they'll get booed if they want them to get booed.
All right, you think they'll get over as heels? Hopefully.
Absolutely.
They break one of Boogs' guitars and it's all over. They go right after him and Nakamura.
Good point. All right. Well, with that said, we are going to switch over to All Elite Wrestling, and there's about 48 matches to pick. So,
Jesus.
So let's dive right in. I'll recap here that we had the Super Elite. That's Kenny Omega, Adam Cole, and the Bucks. They defeated Bryan Danielson, Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Jungle Boy in the opening contest of AEW Dynamite in Philadelphia. If you were there in the arena, they did the entrances at 7:50. That was a big announcement that went over Tony Khan's Twitter, but it's hard to get in the Lycora Center 10 minutes early. That place does a bad job with lines. So that said, Sammy Guevara defended the TNT Championship against Adam Cole's old friend Bobby Fish. He got a win there. Go to hell for the pinfall victory. And then after that, American Top Team attacked Sammy Guevara. Fuego del Sol attempted and failed to make a save. And then Sammy Guevara's Inner Circle friends, Jake Hager and Chris Jericho, did make the save. All of this to set up a match between the Inner Circle and the Men of the Year with Junior Dos Santos, which will happen this week on Rampage. It'll be the first match that we're picking this week. I want to know from you guys that were watching the show at home, could you hear anything Dan Lambert was saying? Because in the arena, he was booed so loudly, I could not hear a darn thing that Dan said. And that's what Jericho said on the mic, and it's true because I couldn't hear it at all. So pick the match, but tell me if you know anything he said. John DeConnie, start with you.
Yeah, well, we could hear him just a little bit because obviously they could, tweak in the mix where the mic goes, but you could tell that, from when he started saying, shut the hell up to the fans, during Judas, the fans just kept singing, which might have even been the week before. But, yeah, I mean, the minute he opened his mouth, he got booed heartily. And you could just, because he was on the mic, was the only reason you could hear it. And so I imagine in the building that was quite a bit difficult. As for the match itself, I mean, if they're not building this up for the Men of the Year to at least take the first in what I assume will be, a series of matches, or at least not a one-off. You'll at least get 2 matches out of this. So I'm going to go with Men of the Year and Junior Dos Santos. I'll be very interested to see to what degree Junior does anything, because even as a former UFC heavyweight champion, he was not much of a grappler. He was a guy who would put you to sleep with his right hand, but not much for the grappling and the wrestling.
John Smith, I'm not sure what your experience level is with Junior Dos Santos. Not sure if it's equivalent to the women's division in WWE or not, but
no, you want to talk MMA with me, you got to go back about 18 years, something like that. I haven't watched in a while, but I'm going to go with I'm going to go with the Inner Circle on this one. But I just want to say Dan Lambert is my spirit animal, because everything he says is like spot on. I love him.
Well, as long as you're not on the other end of whatever spew he's slinging, you're okay. If you get,
I'd love him to cut a promo on me.
I'm going to pick the Men of the Year because I think that we're heading heading towards a full gear match, is what I think. And I don't know how we're going to get there or anything like that, but I think the bad guys get a win here. So now the other match that's spinning out of this whole super elite Sammy Guevara, Bobby Fish thing is this week's Dynamite match. We have Bryan Danielson going up against Bobby Fish. And John Smith, I'll go to you first. Bobby Fish versus Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson is locked in with the elite right now. Is Bobby Fish, you think, aligning himself with Adam Cole? He doesn't really fit there because he doesn't have that comedic edge that the rest of those guys do. But what say you?
I think that would be a mistake to kind of try to integrate the hell was there? The Undisputed Era. It's not even been a couple months and I forgot their name already. That's crazy because it really was all about Adam Cole. But I think it would be a mistake for them to align him with them. Maybe they could have like the little like wink from afar, like, hey, I got your back or something, or I remember we used to whatever. But like, no, I got Daniel Bryan winning this either way. Could Bobby Fish get some help somewhere? Maybe, but I don't think it's gonna, get him the win.
All right, John DeConnie, what do you think?
Yeah, I got Danielson winning the match, and like you said, Fish doesn't really fit. Unless somewhere down the line, Kyle finds himself as a free agent too, and they eventually do some kind of splinter between Adam and the Elite, and then he needs his own new faction. Then, by all means, that would be fantastic. But I think for now, you're right. It's not really a fit on this roster.
Yeah, and I got Bryan Danielson, so we'll make that all three of us in concurrence on that one. And but we're not done picking Bobby Fish matches or Bryan Danielson matches because Tony Khan announced on Twitter earlier today that AEW Rampage is going to have a pre-show. They're going to do a buy-in, and apparently we're going to have Bobby Fish versus Lee Moriarty, and we're going to have Bryan Danielson versus Minoru Suzuki. That's happening between 9 and 10 tomorrow or Friday night, leading into AEW Rampage. So I'll start with John Smith. You pick both matches. You got Bobby Fish versus Lee Moriarty and Bryan Danielson versus Minoru Suzuki.
Bobby Fish will get his first win in AEW here, I think. And then I don't see Bryan Danielson losing anytime soon. So even though it's Suzuki, I still got him winning.
Yeah, and John DeConnie, we actually picked these out of order. We should have done it the other way because these matches are on Friday. The Dynamite match is actually on Saturday. So this is actually good setup. Kind of leads you to believe that both these guys are going to get a win here ahead of their match against each other the next day. But thoughts?
Yeah, that makes total sense, and that's the way I'd pick it. It's just, you kind of get the feeling if Bryan Danielson wasn't so new in AEW, he would not only be willing, he would actually be pushing for doing the job for Suzuki, in honor of his history in Japanese wrestling and whatnot. But like you said, setting up the match between the two of them, it makes sense for both Fish and Bryan Danielson to win.
Absolutely. Okay, Darby Allin, he had just he beat Nick Comoroto earlier in on whichever show it was, I guess Dynamite. Darby Allin beats Nick Comoroto. He accepts a challenge from MJF for a match this week, and all that's great. And then he gets jumped in the back by hooded figures who look a lot like the Inner Circle, but if they or the Pinnacle, but if they were the Pinnacle, why did they have hoods on? I don't really understand what we were going for there, but Darby Allin, anyway, I guess he's not going to be cleared to have that match this week. So hopefully more light is shed on that situation between Rampage and Rampage Buy-In and Dynamite and Dark Elevation and everything else we have between now and whenever. So John Smith, Hikaru Shida is going for win number 50 in Philadelphia last week. She had a tough opponent, Serena Deeb, and she did not get the job done.
No, she didn't, and she was controlling pretty much the whole match. And we got some nice back and forth at the beginning, but then after that, she was pretty dominant throughout. She hit some nice big moves, dive over the top rope, but then Deeb ended up, being able to start attacking the knee, and she did a nice little dragon screw leg DDT type thing to her leg while she was climbing back into the ring, and then just worked it over until she was able to get that single crab with the arm hooked in, and we got a tap out from Shida. So it looks like this 50th win is going to be very elusive for her.
Yeah. I had to do a bunch of research on this because I only had 49 wins. 48 wins for Shida. But I had forgot they did a house show, and they were counting that house show win that she had in there as one of her wins. So they don't count. House shows don't count in minutes to bell time standings. So sorry. John DeConnie, we had the casino ladder match. We knew that Orange Cassidy, Pac, Andrade, Matt Hardy, Lance Archer, and Jon Moxley would participate. We heavily speculated about all the different people that could be the Joker in this match. Who was it?
The right answer to the question is, as much as we tried to reach and give you every possible thing we could come up with, the right answer was Hangman Adam Page, and that's exactly who it was. And this match got really extreme. Hardy went through a table, and it was a mess outside and inside. And it ended kind of, I don't want to say poorly, but oddly, where Hangman and Moxley were just throwing haymakers at each other from the top of the ladder. And one must have clipped Mox on the jaw because he kind of wobbled, fell off. And all that was left was for Hangman to go up one more rung, grab that poker chip, and celebrate with some frosty adult beverages.
I don't think I've seen a Matt Hardy match with such little blood, and for it to be a gimmick match like this, So Hangman Page, apparently, it seems like this is a Full Gear match now, and it does kind of come full circle. This is the story that if you were to have asked me in, March, April of this year, this is what I thought we were going to get to, was Full Gear, Hangman versus Omega. But then they had all these signings. They signed Punk and they signed Danielson and all these guys. And I thought, man, this Omega title reign has to keep going. So now, apparently that's not what's going to happen. Apparently Hangman Page is going to get the title match. Maybe he wins, maybe he loses, but I would think that this is the crowning moment for Hangman. While I'm talking about it, why don't we just pick it right now? John Smith, Full Gear, Hangman Page versus Kenny Omega. What do you think? Long shot. We don't even know that's when the match is, but we're just going to say it is.
I'm still going to say Kenny's keeping that title. I don't think
okay.
Page next.
Johnny DeConnie.
God, they do such a good job with long-term storytelling, but Jesus, did they have another false start for Adam Page? Not that I think the fans will jump off the bandwagon, but I think if they actually get in the ring for the title, I think he's got to take it.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, back to our regular scheduled programming in a storyline that will make John Smith smile. Arn Anderson had a bonfire outside of Cody's house where he basically was burning Cody's stuff, all his materialistic type stuff. Meanwhile, Dante Martin said he was really ready and willing to fight anybody. The top guys, he hung with Kenny Omega, no problem. Just looking for somebody to fight. Well, Malachi Black kicked him in the face and accepted the challenge. So this week we have Dante Martin, no sedans present, versus Malachi Black. John Smith, we'll go straight to you. Dante Martin or Malachi Black in this one. And why don't you just spitball how long you think the match will be?
Yeah, I got Malachi Black, yarmulke and all with that graphic there. Yeah, I got him winning it, and I'd say less than 2 minutes.
Ooh, John DeConnie.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Black as well. And, a lot of his matches are pretty short, and I would not be surprised to see that. But they seem to have really be pushing Dante Martin. So I think maybe we get 4 or 5 minutes out of it just to continue to show just how good Dante Martin is. And we know Black can go with him, so it might as well stretch him out a little bit. But I wouldn't be shocked if it was 45 seconds.
I think that the interesting thing about this, and I know I made you guys pick the length of the match, but what'll be more interesting is how high up in the air has Dante jumped when he gets kicked in the face. Because we're going to see how high up Malachi Black can get his flag. How flexible he is.
Indeed.
All right. That's going to be on the Saturday Night Dynamite, Dante Martin versus Malachi Black. On Rampage last week, we had CM Punk getting a win over Daniel Garcia. And on Rampage this week, Friday, CM Punk will be facing Matt Sydal, or as we like to say on this show, Matt Sedan. So, John DeConnie, over to you. Who is going to win, CM Punk or Matt Sydal?
Yes, well, Leo Rush proved his worth by getting Sydal this match, but let's be honest, he's done him no favors because CM Punk will take care of him in, I'm not going to say short order, but certainly CM Punk will win this.
Okay, John Smith, does Matt Sydal have a shot here? Evan Bourne.
If Leo Rush can get involved, I guess, but I don't see them throwing us that curveball. I got CM Punk taking this one definitely.
Yeah, I think CM Punk's winning until he eventually gets a title shot, and then I think he loses. Right? I they're not taking any steam off that CM Punk wagon right now. So no. I agree. Okay, now also on Rampage, the Lucha Bros defeated the Acclaim to retain the AEW Tag Team Championships. And Andrade, he's interested in the AAA Tag Team titles, and he is going to bring 2 friends, we don't know who they are, mystery opponents for the Lucha Bros. That'll be this Saturday. Lucha Bros versus Andrade's mystery guys. AAA Tag Team Championships on the line. Guys, we're looking for theories here on who the 2 guys are and who's going to walk out with those titles. So, John DeConnie, I will start with you.
Being not all that familiar with the AAA roster, I could not even give you an intelligent guess outside of who was in the main event at Triple Mania. Was it Psycho Clown?
Sure, yeah.
And I don't know if he's got a regular partner or not, but I really don't know where they're going here. I wouldn't put it past Andrade to let it be 2 guys that are not luchadors at all. He just puts them in masks, and they're just there to beat the hell out of the Lucha Bros. But I think the Lucha Bros will retain here just because on AEW we don't really have a reason to care about those tag titles. We just know that the Lucha Bros are going to put on a good match. So seeing them lose them would be kind of odd and awkward, I would think.
Yeah. John Smith, Travis this morning on the show surprised me with what he thought. His wild A prediction was Andrade's going to bring in AOP and put masks on them. And that's who's going to face the Lucha Bros. Now, that's really wild A prediction. But your thoughts? Do you have any other options?
The AOP is way too much body fat to be on the AEW roster, so there's no way that's happening. I like the idea though because they do need big guys like that, but I don't know. Maybe it'll be something stupid like the Young Bucks with masks on. But I have a feeling it's just going to be two random guys from AAA, and I'm going to go with the Lucha Bros no matter who it is.
All right. I'm going to give Andrade some steam here. I'm going to say his guys are going to win. I don't know exactly who they're going to be, but if I had to pick, I'm going to go with Dragon Lee, who is he's the brother of Roosh, who was Roosh is on the shelf right now. Otherwise, I'd say it's Dragon Lee and Roosh. Roosh being a former Ring of Honor world champion, and their other brother, who is currently called Dralistico, who was formerly. There's a lot of these. I'm not sure which one of these he was. Dralistico, Mystico, Caristico. He's two of the three of those, and he's also the former Sin Cara. So I think it's going to be those two guys. Maybe I could be wrong. It could be the AOP. I have no clue. So could be Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder. I really don't know. So, but I'm gonna say whoever they are, Andrade's friends are going to win. So there we go. All right, back to Rampage from last week. Jade Cargill got a fairly succinct win over Sky Blue. She used Jaded or the Glam Slam or the Road to Valhalla, whatever we want to call it today. Thunder Rosa had to make a save because Jade wanted to get a post-match beatdown in. Now we know Sky Blue, Jade Cargill, Thunder Rosa, even Ruby Soho, they're all interested in this newly announced TBS title. We don't know if the Bunny is interested in chasing after that title, but Ruby Soho and the Bunny will be fighting on Rampage this week. See what I did there? That was a heck of a transition. Ruby Soho versus the Bunny. John Smith, who you got?
I got Ruby Soho. She's not going to lose for a while, but the TBS title, are we serious? I thought that was a joke when I saw it. I thought it was a meme when I saw it online. I saw it online first. You got to be freaking kidding me. Like, Ted Turner has nothing to do with this. Why does TNT and TBS get the names of the titles? It's so like unoriginal and unthoughtful.
It's a bit more specific than TV title.
Right, but I mean, at least that's an established, like, accepted type of. This is like the Turner Broadcasting System title. That's what it is. You could say no. It's just Turner Broadcasting System title. That's what it is. It's the Turner National Television or whatever title. Like, I don't get it.
You would be opposed to WWE introducing the Peacock title for sure.
Right, or the USA, or well, I guess US.
You walked right into that one.
Yeah, I set myself up there.
Oh, I wish I had led with that instead of the Peacock title. But all right, well, we'll put that aside. You picked Ruby, John DeConnie, Ruby Soho, or the Bunny?
Yeah, I think Ruby gets another build for probably into that tournament. So give me Ruby Soho over the Bunny.
Okay. I'll also pick Ruby Soho, although I'm a little concerned that Ruby Soho doesn't really have friends, and the Bunny does with Penelope Ford and stuff. So we'll see what happens. John DeConnie, Ricky Starks versus Brian Cage in a Philly street fight for the FTW Championship. Philly street fight, man. Philadelphia, ECW, all the things. And we're going no DQ here.
And Taz on commentary. I mean, come on.
Taz on commentary.
What more do you want? So we had Hobbs and Hook at ringside getting involved. They get taken out by Cage initially. One comes in, clothesline, one comes in, punch to the face. Then Starks is a little bit to the side. Hobbs tries to get involved again. Cage is pulling him up for what looks like it's going to be something nasty involving the top turnbuckle. And this is where Starks comes back into what's going on. He was kind of down to the side. He catches Cage up on the second buckle, low blow onto his back, and he hits the Rochambeau, which there was absolutely no other way he was getting Cage on his shoulders. But Starks retains his FTW title.
Surprised me. I thought Cage might win the match there, but I guess I shouldn't have thought that way because there's no way that FTW championship is getting too far away from Taz. So, all right, the final AEW topic we have is that this week on Dynamite, they are announcing the brackets for the AEW World Title Eliminator. Last year, that was won by Kenny Omega at Full Gear. The finals will be at Full Gear. Last year, Kenny went on to the December special episode of Dynamite. Winner is coming to win the World Championship. So, guys, I ask you, do you have any thoughts at all about who might win the World Title Eliminator this year? And we have no brackets or no names at this point, so it's a wild A guess. John Smith.
Well, my first thought was Daniel Bryan, but aren't they going to be fighting before that?
Nothing announced. So
I'll go with Daniel Bryan then.
Yeah, I thought Bryan Danielson was going to be getting a match at Full Gear.
I still call Daniel. I wasn't even doing that on purpose, by the way. Like he'll always be Daniel Bryan to me. Sorry.
And I don't know if James Wheeler is registering his pick to win the tournament or if he's like John Smith
correcting me.
Daniel Bryan. So, yeah, I thought Bryan Danielson would be getting the match at Full Gear. So I thought this would be kind of a moot point. Maybe Hangman Page would have to go through this to get another title shot, but those roles appear to be reversed, John DeConnie.
Yeah, exactly. And that it would have made more sense the other way around. And Bryan Danielson probably would be my pick here too, but just to say something different, give me CM Punk. Why not?
Sure. He'd get 4 wins, theoretically, or something like that. I don't know if it's going to be an 8-person or 16-person tournament, but he'd get a number of wins over guys and on his way there. So it'd be a good way. The thing is with both these guys that we're talking about, even Adam Cole, you could throw him in there. These are all guys that can't really challenge because they don't have the records. So if they want to stick to that aspect of their storytelling, they can't really put them in a title match. So this is a way to get there without having to do all that. So that aside, let's move on from AEW. We're going to flip over to a combined Raw and SmackDown segment. I will put the Monday Night Raw graphic up in the corner for this second, but we're talking about both. And we're going to start by talking about the King of the Ring tournament. We had 4 matches so far, 2 of them on SmackDown, 2 of them on Raw. Sami Zayn got a win over Rey Mysterio. Finn Balor got a win over Cesaro. Xavier Woods got a win over Ricochet. And Jinder Mahal defeated Kofi Kingston. So now we're down to 4 people in the King of the Ring. And I will throw it to you first, John Smith, to pick our first match. It'll be on SmackDown this week. Sami Zayn versus Finn Balor. And I will give you the hint that there is no chance in hell that Sami Zayn goes to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, well, I mean, either way, Finn Balor's winning this match, though. So even if Sami would like to go to Saudi Arabia, he wouldn't be going to Saudi Arabia.
John DeConnie, do you feel the need to add anything here?
No, I concur. Finn Balor moves on. All
right. I also do, based on my hint, which Karl gave to me earlier to cite my sources. Okay, so let's move to the more interesting match then, or maybe more interesting. I'm not sure. It is a former WWE champion in Jinder Mahal versus a former million-time tag team champion, Xavier Woods. John DeConnie, Woods really wants to win the King of the Ring, right? This is his big lifetime goal. So it makes sense to me that they would push him all the way to the end and then take it away from him. So what are your thoughts?
You just pretty much wrapped up my thoughts on this match. Exactly. Sprinkle in on top of that the fact that Jinder grabbed the scepter, wore the crown, and sat in the throne this week. Something you just don't do until you've won it. Woods moves on.
Woods moves on. Okay. Now, John Smith, do they need to send Jinder Mahal to Saudi Arabia in a big match?
No, because he's Indian. So
yeah, I know. but
I don't think that's gonna be a thing. I got Woods winning also, and I don't have Woods winning. Just like you had said, just pull the rug out from under him right at the end. That's going to be Finn Balor's, consolation prize for having a loss on the Demons record now.
Okay. I think I'm going to pick Jinder to win here, and I think Finn overall. So the prince will become a king. So there we go.
Nice.
All right. Queen's Crown tournament action. So far, Zelina Vega wins over Toni Storm. Carmella wins over Liv Morgan in an outcome that basically set the world on fire. All the internet's pissed about that. Shayna Baszler defeated Dana Brooke. Nobody cared about that. Dewdrop defeated Natalya. And now we're left with 4. Zelina Vega versus Carmella. Shayna Baszler versus Dewdrop. Can you believe it? John DeConnie, will start with you first this time. Carmella and Zelina, I thought they were friends. Isn't one just going to do the finger poke of doom here?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. One way or another, no offense to Carmella, but Zelina's got that new car smell on her. She's fresh back. She's got 2 victories in a row. That's crazy. So she's going to keep rolling on, and she'll be headed over to Saudi.
Okay, John Smith, Zelina Vega or Carmella?
That's
either way. A heel comes out the.
I know, and then Shayna Baszler's on the other side. Like, are we getting heel on heel in the final? It doesn't seem like it now. This one's a coin flip. I'm gonna go with Zelina just because Carmella's had her success in the past, so maybe they're trying something new.
I'll go with Zelina Vega because they played a commercial with Carmella on it, and during the first Saudi Arabia show that got them in trouble. So I'll go with Zelina Vega for that reason. Okay, Shayna Baszler versus Dewdrop. Now we just talked about it, John Smith, about Shayna Baszler, a heel going up against obviously a heel on the other side of the equation. Maybe those rules don't apply in Saudi Arabia because that crowd doesn't know the wrestlers that well. But if anybody was going to beat Shayna, it'd be Dewdrop, I guess.
Yeah. Am I going to pick it? I guess, yeah, I'm picking it. I'm picking Dewdrop. I'm picking Dewdrop to win this one. It doesn't make sense to do Zelina Vega or Carmella versus Shayna Baszler.
All right, so next week I would check in for sure to make your official pick for the show. Yeah. But are you going to pick Dewdrop or Zelina?
I'm picking. Dewdrop. If Dewdrop wins this, Dewdrop's the winner of this match wins the tournament, I think.
Okay.
And I'm going with Dewdrop.
Okay. John DeConnie, dissenting opinion?
Most definitely, because no offense to John Smith, but from the very beginning, there is no outcome that I accept other than Shayna Baszler ripping through this tournament, squeezing necks, popping heads, and the Queen of Spades becomes the queen. It wears the Queen's crown, and then in all likelihood gets a big boot in the face from the original Queen, Charlotte, and we move on from there.
Yeah, I don't know if Charlotte will go over there if she doesn't have a match, but certainly the first chance she gets, right? She'll be putting that boot in whoever wins the tournament. I mean, I think with certainty, it should be crowned for title at whatever point we get to next, right?
Sure.
I like Shayna in the tournament, although I'm glad I don't have to pick this Shayna Dewdrop match for points. So,
yeah.
But I'm going to pick Shayna because she's the person I want to win it. So, all right, not every woman on the roster got to be in the tournament, and at least one woman was pretty upset about it, Naomi. So, as she has in past weeks, she went to management to complain, and Sonya Deville just let her know, you're not in the tournament because you're not worthy of being in the tournament. But you do have a match next week, and your opponent will be the returning Sonya Deville herself. So, John DeConnie, Sonya Deville, put down Naomi, or does Naomi get some vengeance on Sonya Deville?
This one's tough because, I've been waiting and wanting for Sonya to come back, and I assumed she'd get on a nice streak when she finally did. And I thought Naomi would have to do something to kind of pull her back in. So where do we go here? Do we have Sonya? Is this a one-off for Sonya where she just wants to get some, aggression out on Naomi because Naomi's been a pain in the ass recently? And okay, so does Sonya win and Naomi is stalled and we don't know what the heck she's doing on SmackDown, or vice versa, and Sonya comes back and has a loss? I'm assuming Naomi's going to win just because she's got that oos juice in her back pocket. And, just on the roster in general, I see her moving up fairly quickly. So give me Naomi.
All right. John Smith.
I'm going to go with Sonya Deville. I think she's going to have some muscle that we don't know about come out and help her.
Okay, well, Sonya Deville is on at least a one-match losing streak. She lost to Mandy Rose at SummerSlam, not this past one, but the one prior in the Thunderdome. So Naomi doesn't have the best record either. I'll pick Naomi. She's having her. You know what? No, I'll pick Sonya Deville. Why have a happy moment? All right. Roman Reigns gave Paul Heyman just one more chance to come clean about his relationship with Brock Lesnar. Heyman told Brock that he has met his match in Roman Reigns, and that's not a prediction. It's a spoiler. Brock Lesnar will be at SmackDown this week. So I have no questions for you guys, but we're getting close to Crown Jewel here. Anybody feeling like Roman Reigns might lose the title to Brock? Is that an eventuality that we might see? Either of you guys, just quick thought.
Jeez, I don't think so, but I mean it's Brock, so you can never say no.
Yeah.
The only way I see it happening is a Heyman double cross on Roman.
Yeah. All right. Well, I agree. I feel like Roman's going to run away with it, so we'll see. All right, so the Edge and Seth Rollins drama continues. It seems to have finally played out. Seth Rollins barely escaped Edge at the end of SmackDown last week, but Edge did accept Seth's challenge. Looks like they're doing Hell in a Cell at Saudi Arabia. So I'm sure we'll be main eventing the show next week with our Crown Jewel picks. So that'll be the thing we look forward to there. So that said, we can move over to a few things that we didn't cover from Monday Night Raw so far. And John DeConnie, Shelton Benjamin, and Cedric Alexander go against Mustafa Ali and Mansoor.
Yes, and you stating the name of those two teams took almost as long as this match did. A minute and 20 seconds. Ali misses a 450 splash, and Cedric counters with a Michinoku driver for the win. But the story of this one is afterwards, Mansoor comes over. He's, consoling Ali. Ali pushes him away and just flat out walks off. Later, we see the two of them backstage, and Mansoor's making excuses for Ali, and Ali is done being nice. He's done just with the deal. He tells Mansoor he is a waste. He's nothing without him. He's, he's garbage. Forget it. We're over. Mansoor still wants to give him he walks away again, Ali. Mansoor still wants to give him the benefit of the doubt. He tells Kevin, whatever the hell his name is, backstage, I'll go talk to him later. We'll make things okay, blah, blah, blah. And Ali comes back and just lays him out. There's no more talking to be done. We're done. I'm done with you. Stomps him into a road case and walks off. And then we'll see those two at Crown Jewel.
Yeah, I think Mansoor will get his retribution.
And he'll keep his undefeated streak alive in Saudi Arabia as well.
That's right. John Smith, Omos, and Riddle had a match.
Yeah, if that's what you want to call it.
Yeah,
yeah, well, Riddle didn't have Randy with him for some reason. Randy didn't feel like coming out. So, you got AJ Styles at Omos's corner, and Riddle's trying to stall, hoping that Randy will finally come out, but it's not working. And, AJ finally tells the ref, get the damn match started already. He's just stalling. So he jumps off the ring apron, match starts. Omos destroys him, gives him a regular one-handed choke slam, foot on the chest, 1, 2. No, wait, take your foot off of him. We could beat him up legally as much as we want. So then he tells Omos, hey, remember that karate you used to do when you were in 2nd grade? I want to see you roundhouse kick Riddle. So he roundhouses Riddle in the face. Then AJ calls for a replay. Then he calls for a slow motion replay. Then we finally get the two-handed Omos choke. It's not even a choke slam. It's like he lifts you by your head and slams you down. And he steps on the chest for the 3 count. Then they start beating him up a little more. Then Randy finally comes out for the save. He was probably backstage with Humberto Carrillo. So that's probably what was going on.
We got to cut Carrillo some slack now. He's a full-time tag team partner with Angel Garza over on SmackDown post-draft. So he's in the middle of a push right now. He might have another week left before we have to pick on him again. John Smith, continue with you. You excellently laid out Omos and Riddle. Let's see if you can go through the same for Austin Theory and Jeff Hardy.
Yeah, this one didn't last too long either. I love the Theory's, not gimmick, but just like his attitude now. It's like he was in high school in NXT, like the way he acted, and now he's in college. He's like the cocky douche in college. So they recapped him attacking Jeff last week. We get the match started this week, and all of a sudden here comes Reggie with his 24/7 championship, running away from a whole gaggle of superstars. They interfere in the match. They don't get the match disqualified or anything like that, but they're just all over the ring. And then finally Theory or R-Truth catches Theory's attention. So it gets Jeff to be able to get the upper hand, twist of fate, swanton bomb. Oh, Austin rolls out of the way, and we get Austin Theory's very first Raw roll-up. So we'll give him a round of applause. So he can do the Raw roll-up, 1, 2, 3. So he's going places.
Yeah, that'll get you a lot of wins on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, it will.
A lot of wins. All right, we got a lot of comments coming in from James Wheeler. I don't know what happened. They all kind of batched in at one time, but he's calling for Woods versus Baszler at Crown Jewel. So a lot of people agree with him there. And he says, fine, I want Liv Morgan to win the 2022 Women's Royal Rumble match. Okay.
What's up with everybody being on the Liv Morgan bandwagon all of a sudden? Did she get good overnight? Did she get good overnight or something? What is to like? She's just like a hot blonde, like any other hot blonde. She's, Tori Wilson, Trish Stratus, whatever. Like, she's nothing special.
Don't you like them?
Well, no, I'm not saying that Trish Stratus is nothing special. But point is she's like cookie cutter kind of like just blonde chick, who's nice on the eyes. I don't see what the big deal is with her. I don't know why she's just the new internet darling. Maybe because people want her to move over with Ruby Soho and start their whole clique again over there or something.
Well, I think they don't want her to. I think that's why they want her to get a push here in WWE. But while John Smith digs himself out of the hole, he's dug himself too. James Wheeler continues to say Naomi needs to win, no questions asked. And also, I'm not sure if you dug this up in your extensive research, John, but Rhea Ripley turned 25 yesterday. So happy birthday to Rhea Ripley.
Wow.
All right. Sticking with the women's division. Bianca Belair clearly won the contract signing last week on SmackDown. So now, of course, it leads us to a big tag team match on Monday Night Raw. It's Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair versus Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. Now, this match was about to start, but the partners kept fighting with each other, and it led to a bunch of referees coming down. Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville said, no, we will have this match. So they start the match after commercial and ends in a double disqualification. So there you go. But this week on SmackDown, we might see more of the same. Who knows? But we have a pretty big match that would be a main event of WrestleMania caliber match. Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch. I'm just going to spoil my pick right now. I'm calling for another no contest. John Smith, go to you.
I'm going with Sasha Banks to get the win due to interference.
Okay, John DeConnie.
I'm going to go. One may get their hand raised by DQ, but there definitely will be interference and some kind of schmoz. And, I don't see anyone getting their shoulders pinned.
Yeah. All right, we're all on the same page. This is not going to be a clean affair at all. Okay. Big E and Drew put their differences aside for a match against the Usos, right, John DeConnie?
Of course. They kick the show off. Drew says there's no chance I'm passing, I'm going to let this slip through my fingers. It's my last shot at the WWE Championship. And Big E comes out to remind him, there's no way you're taking this title from me. And the Usos come out just to get involved because they're the Usos. They can go and do whatever they want. And they wind up challenging them to a tag match. Okay, sure. Backstage, somewhere that started the match, started the night. Somewhere in the middle of the show, backstage, we see Big E and Drew. They're having some issues, but like you said, they agree for one night to put their differences aside to beat the hell out of the Usos, and they even seal it with the Mega Powers handshake. I mean, it was something to behold. So then we get to the main event, and we get Big E making a blind tag to get himself into the match. He winds up. This obviously pisses Drew off a little bit. Big E hits the big ending on Jey Uso. And as he's getting what would be the 1, 2, 3, Drew McIntyre yanks him not just off the cover, but out of the ring. They start bickering at ringside. Then they start beating on each other at ringside. And they wind up getting counted out, so the Usos get the victory. The whole thing winds up with the Usos then hit stereo dives over the top rope and take both of them out. They're beating them up at ringside. But the good guys get the upper hand again and take care of the Usos. They roll back in the ring, go right back after one another. Big E almost gets Drew up for the big ending, but he kind of slips out the back, turn around, and not much of a run up to it, but just enough room to land a Claymore. And, of course, if that happens at Crown Jewel, we'll have a new WWE champion. Ooh, drama.
And then what? And then all the belts are on SmackDown, right?
Exactly.
Right? Because, Becky, not if Sasha were to win and Drew McIntyre were to win, then all the belts are on SmackDown. Heading into Survivor Series, would we really need a battle for brand supremacy?
Did Drew McIntyre get drafted to SmackDown?
He did.
Oh wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, and Becky Lynch got drafted over to Raw, so presumably, and Charlotte's over to SmackDown, so presumably we're going to have some titles, whatever. Something's going to happen there, hopefully. But you can't win a title on a DQ like the semi-main of Raw, or a count-out like the main of Raw. So you need to have a decisive finish at whatever these title matches come up. So, all right, we're getting ready to go home here. We've got Impact Wrestling left, we have Impact's main show from last Thursday, and we have the Knockouts Knockdown show to talk through. So we'll start with something that's kind of fun and kind of out there. The Digital Media Championship they're contesting that over their Impact's digital media. So we've had so far John Skyler advancing in this single elimination tournament with an undetermined amount of people in brackets that don't exist anywhere. He defeated Zicky Dice. Crazy Steve with 2 Z's defeated Hernandez with 1 Z. Balaba with 2 H's, 3 in both names, defeated Sam Beal. And then this week, tomorrow, you can catch it on Impact social media. We have a match that I can't believe they're doing with 0 build. It is a battle between 2 people with 2 ends. It's Jordan versus Johnny in the Digital Media Championship opening round. I don't even know where to go. John DeConnie, who do you got?
The match I didn't know I absolutely needed, and the minute you told me, I absolutely loved it. You know, Swinger's having a rough time. You know, they had to close Swinger's Palace. He's not looking forward to the trip to Vegas, and I don't see his life getting much easier. I think Jordan, I don't see her going far in this tournament, but just for giggles, I see her beating Swinger.
All right, John Smith. I don't know what to think of the Digital Media Championship quite yet, except for the fact that it's probably going to be changing hands over YouTube and things like that has me thinking it's closely aligned with its brother over on WWE, the 24/7 Championship, which then leads me to believe this is Johnny Swinger's title to have. So, what do you say in this opening round contest? A tournament to decide that kind of title is kind of weird.
Yeah, especially when it's intergender too. I'm gonna go with Jordan Grace on this one though. It does scream like Johnny Bravo, but no, Johnny Swinger. I mean, not Johnny Bravo. It does scream like his gimmick, but no, I'm going with Jordan. I don't see Jordan or them having. When do they ever have a woman lose to a man? First of all, especially when it's like a cheesy gimmick man like Swinger.
Yeah, as I tried to set you up to pick Johnny Swinger, but I'm picking Jordan Grace too. All right, John DeCounty. We had Bullet Club in action against the Finn Juice and Chris Sabin on Impact last week.
Yes, we certainly did. And, Finn Juice, they were tired of always having the numbers not go their way. So they tapped Sabin to help join them. It didn't make much of a difference because Hikuleo got the referee's attention, allowing ELP to hit that signature low blow fist on Sabin, and then Chris Bay would clean things up with the art of finesse for the win. Bullet Club keeps on rolling.
See, B Fab is on the other show, and B Priestley is on the other show. So
I'm taking notes here. I'm trying to keep it.
All right. Steve Macklin defeated Black Taurus and Petey Williams in an X Division triple threat qualifier. The winner. So Macklin is going to advance to Bound for Glory to compete for the X Division Championship. This week, we have another triple threat match. It's Rohit Raju. Al Carr would probably call him the greatest X Division champion of all time versus Willie Mack versus El Phantasmo. So, John DeCounty, starting with you, are we going low blow for the win here? ELP not pictured.
I'm going to say yes to that, but just because I think that makes for, well, first of all, it makes Steve Macklin the odd man out in that triple threat because Trey and ELP can, spend all their time in midair, and Macklin will just be waiting for them to come down so he can smash them. But, give me Phantasma to move on because I think that makes that triple threat that much more entertaining.
Okay. John Smith, what say you?
Throw Willie a bone. Come on, he doesn't need to win the tournament or anything, but throw him a bone. Give me Willie Mack.
Okay, I was going to use those exact same words. I was going to throw Billy a bone. So I'm picking Willie Mack here too. It's funny. I was going to use the exact same words. So took the words out of my mouth.
It must have been while you were kissing me. Those are lyrics from Meatloaf. Okay, that wasn't like me and Ryan Joy were actually making it.
I'm glad you explained it because I didn't understand it either.
You don't know that song? You took the words right out of my mouth.
I know that part. I guess I don't.
It must have been while you were kissing me.
Oh, all right. I didn't know you could sing.
I can't. You just heard it.
Well, so in the last 2 minutes of this show, you have beatboxed or something, Willie Mack's theme music, and you sung Meatloaf. So I disagree.
Yes, and I apparently came out to the entire world on YouTube.
Yesterday was coming out day.
Oh, shut up. Damn, I'll have to wait till next year then.
All right. All right. Well, Rich Swann and Willie Mack got a win So Willie Mack got his 1 win last week over Manny Lemons and Zicky Dice. So John, we might be in trouble. Rich Swann is going to get a match against VSK on this week's episode of Impact Wrestling. VSK, I think, a member of the Learning Tree. So John Smith, we'll go to you first on this one. Does VSK have a shot here against Mr. All Night Long?
I'm going to go with no.
Okay. John DeConnie.
He's certainly got a shot because the Learning Tree can roll, 5 guys to ringside to cause havoc, but I still don't think it's happening. I think Rich Swann gets the victory.
Yeah. Brian Myers has more people in that Learning Tree than he had wins in his entire WWE career. So
correct.
Yeah. I'm going with Rich Swann in this one as well. Now, another match we have on Impact this week is a Battle Royal. And I don't know who's going to be in it at all, except I'm presuming that Rhino will be in it. The winner is going to enter the Call Your Shot Gauntlet at number 20. The runner-up, your trophy for second place, is you get to enter at number 1. So here's my graphic. I put Rhino on it. John DeConnie, you go first.
I mean, could it be as easy as it comes down to Heath and Rhino again, kind of at the end there? Probably.
Yeah, they didn't get to tell that story last year. So whatever they had planned is just, let's just move the whole thing forward 1 year, right?
Yeah, we hit the pause for a full, almost 365. So why not? So yeah, give me, not Jesus now, but who wins it though?
I do the reverse, right?
Yeah, exactly. So give me Heath to win it and Rhino to enter at number 1.
Okay. That's what I'm saying too. John Smith?
Wait, so what exactly is this match again?
It's a battle royal. It's
All right.
20 man.
Okay.
And the winner gets to enter the Call Your Shot Gauntlet at Bound for Glory.
Oh, I thought the Call Your Shot was a battle royal. I was like, this is a battle royal to determine the entrance to a battle royal. Okay, I got you now.
But the runner-up gets number 1. So.
Right. Yeah, I like the Rhino and Heath ending, but give me Rhino to win and Heath to have to enter number 1, and then Heath can go the whole gauntlet maybe.
Yeah. This will be the thing that busts our perfect Bound for Glory pay-per-views.
Absolutely.
All right, John DeConnie, main event time for Impact. Before we get to Knockouts Knockdown, Christian Cage and Josh Alexander, they went in a tag match against Ace Austin and Madman Fulton.
And much like we saw on SmackDown, Christian makes a blind tag, which kind of ticked Alexander off. Alexander would go on to hit a really nice looking rolling follow-through German suplex on Ace. Christian hits the kill switch for the win. So the good guys get the victory there. But then remember, these two are facing each other at Bound for Glory. So they're bickering, at the end of the show. The show goes off the air basically with them nose to nose and, Christian holding up the title and Josh saying, I'm coming for it and blah, 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 blah. This is your Bound for Glory main event.
All right. Well, that puts a nice bow on our Thursday night Impact show. Let's fast forward to Saturday. Fast forward to last Saturday. Doesn't sound right, but we had Knockouts Knockdown, the all-women's pay-per-view by Impact Wrestling. Commentators were Vita Scott and Mickie James. All the referees were female. We had Melissa Santos in the ring. Luckily, she didn't have anything to say about Brian Cage in that moment. Otherwise, that guy's going to get fired. So, all right. But we had a tournament. We had an 8-woman tournament. The winner is going to get a shot at the Knockouts Championship sometime after Bound for Glory. So we got to listen to Mickie James talk about throughout the entire night how it's going to be her that this person faces, not Deonna Purrazzo. But here's what happened. Opening round, Rachel Ellering gets a win over Lady Frost. Chelsea Green defeats Renee Michelle. Mercedes Martinez gets a win over Brandi Loren. And Tasha Steelz beats Jamie Senegal. Round 2, Mercedes Martinez defeats Rachel Ellering. Tasha Steelz defeats Chelsea Green. And in the finals, Mercedes Martinez gets the win over Tasha Steelz. John DeConnie had picked Mercedes. I had picked Tasha. So we were duking it out, but Mercedes Martinez gets the win here, and we will fast forward. At some point, she's getting a shot at either Deonna Purrazzo or Mickie James down the line. But I think this whole thing is about building challengers for Deonna, because where else are they going to source them? So they got to go to the NWA to get Mickie. They got to go to the Indies to get Mercedes. John Smith, Deonna did not sit this pay-per-view out. She had a match against Masha Slamovich, the person that Mickie James picked in the Pick Your Poison. So break it down for us.
Yeah, I mean, this was kind of like a standard match, not a throwaway, but just your basic. You got to give the Champa, a good amount of time, but you didn't want to give her too long against somebody that's not, actually a contender or even in the federation to begin with. But Slamovich, I called her the female Ludwig Borga. She's she put up a good fight, but Deonna just kept working that arm all match. Just kept working the arm, and then finally we get the Venus de Milo and the victory for Deonna by submission.
Another good win for Deonna Purrazzo. I like the fact that she's wrestling so many outside competitors, because I just feel like it's so many credentials for her. And I think she has a bit of chip on her shoulder from, NXT days and stuff like that. So I'm really glad for the run Deonna's had, and hope it continues for a long time, way past Mickie James and Mercedes Martinez. John DeConnie,
Sure.
Monsters Ball match.
Yeah, so this whole segment was kind of kicked off by Christy Hemme coming out. She introduces the next Hall of Fame inductee, which is Awesome Kong. Awesome Kong comes out. She thanks the fans, and then she pivots to talking about her dear friend Daphne. And in Daphne's honor, we lead into the Monsters Ball. The Monsters Ball would be the Undead Kimberly, Jordan Grace, Alicia Edwards for some reason, and Savannah Evans. They had a good amount of gimmicks and plunder involved in this match. Alicia came out with not just Kenny, but Kendra. And Kendra was all decked out for the special occasion. She was wrapped in barbed wire. We had tables, we had chairs, we had thumbtacks, in fact, that were introduced by Alicia. And unfortunately, that would not work out too well for her, as Savannah would use the weightlifting chalk that Jordan brought to the ring to blind Jordan, kind of get her out of the way. And then a full Nelson slam, Alicia right into the thumbtacks for the 1, 2, 3, and Savannah Evans is your Monsters Bowl victor.
All this time later, and I finally see what Sami Callihan saw in Alicia Edwards. All right, John DeConnie, sticking with you, Decay in the main event, defending the tag team championships against the Influence. I mentioned, I think in the conversation thread, I didn't think this was going to be the main event. It seemed kind of out of place. I thought it would be the tournament finals would be in the main event spot, but the tag titles, the Knockouts tag titles, I think for the first time, main eventing a big show like this. So take it away.
Yeah, and that right there made you think something special was going to happen here. And I think you and I were both on the same page thinking this was going to be a title change. Well, it didn't play out that way. The Influence did. They were able to get Rosemary by herself and hit the collab with basically the two-woman front-falling leg sweep, like the Jeff Jarrett's stroke. But meanwhile, Havoc and Caleb with a K were taking the ref's attention at ringside. By the time the referee turned around and started the count, Rosemary was able to kick out. Things continued to be a little bit messy. Everyone was involved with inside and outside the ring, and it would eventually lead to Rosemary and Havoc using that combo leg sweep and a spear, and Madison would get pinned by Havoc. Decay would retain the Knockouts Tag Team Championships, but before we went off the air, we got a little special message up on the Tron. The inspiration is coming at Bound for Glory.
And it's going to be iconic.
Indeed.
Well, I'm excited to see Cassie Lee and Jessie McKay back in the ring. I had to think there for what their names were, now that they're not Peyton Royce and Billy Kay. I didn't know if they were ever going to show up the way things were going, so I'm excited. I think this is the right place for them. I think they're going to fit in very well here. I think it's a much better option for them than AEW would have been. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, from the very start, there were obviously little rumblings because Peyton, I'm not gonna. You're ahead of me on this one. I don't remember Peyton's new name, but her boyfriend is over there in AEW, so everyone was like, "Oh, of course they're gonna go over there." But right from the beginning, I thought, why send them over there unless they introduce tag titles for the women over there when you've got the Knockouts titles right here, and there's no reason to split these two up. They are a team. They should remain a team, and let them go for those Knockouts tag titles in Impact. This is going to be great.
Yeah. John Smith, anything to add?
No, not really.
All right. Well, that being said, this show was for points, the Knockouts Knockdown. So let's take a look at where our standings are post show. John Smith, you went 6-4 at this show, so a good outing from you. Not as good as John DeConnie and myself. John DeConnie really took things home here, but you are leading the pack with Impact, so you could temporarily hold up that United States or USA Network Championship if you'd like.
But then you're going to go to the overall standings, and then then we see this.
I still have a 40-point lead over John DeConnie and 41-point lead over John Smith. So things are pretty tight in there in that second and third place. Karl, he keeps picking his favorites, and his favorites aren't winning. So maybe don't pick Christian and The Miz anymore. He'll do better. So there we go. That said, we're going home now. So we got some things to talk about here. The primetime rundown. Join Joey Jarzenka, Ian Schreier, and Rob DeLuca on Monday nights, or actually it's Friday nights for the primetime rundown. They take you through the world of sports. The show kicks off on the Eastern Observer at 7 p.m. However, do check out the fact that those are the sports guys. They're going to take you through the world of sports each and every week. We're the wrestling guys. We're going to take you through the world of wrestling each and every week. But if you want to know who's going to win these events, that's our specialty. We pick the winners in wrestling. We pick the winners in football. So here's our standings this week. Again, all of us, except for Gary, who picks soccer team every week, have picked correctly this week. Even Tyler Adelle picked correctly this week.
Wow.
And overall, we have a huge lead, 5-game lead over the primetime rundown grouping. So, again, if you want to know who's going to win the week's matches, if you want to know who's going to win the weekend's football games, I guess tune into the Essential Wrestling Podcast. Even though we don't break down the football games. Just DM us and we'll let you know who we're picking for the weekend, I guess.
Yeah, we're making them look foolish. They're the sports guys. This is what they get for not playing fantasy football against us.
But it is our specialty picking, outcomes, I guess.
Yeah.
So. All right. Tune into the Daily Wrestling News Show each Monday through Thursday. I host that one, and we sort through all the BS in wrestling news to find you the truth. John Smith will be on the show tomorrow. We'll talk through whatever happens on NXT tonight and the news from the last 24 hours. Subscribe to the Body Slam Brigade newsletter. It's a new format, super easy to read. It's close to 5,000 people getting it each Friday. So do check it out. We've actually been on a little hiatus, so it'll come back out this week, I suspect. And everybody likes free cake, so check out the new Ish album from the Black Cats. You can get that on Spotify, Pandora, anywhere you get music. Pro Wrestling Pick'em is a place where you can create or host a Pick'em league to test your predictive skills in the world of pro wrestling. Create an account and join a league now at ProWrestlingPick'em.com so you can play against your friends or play against the universe. And guys, she'll like it too. And of course, this show, the Essential Wrestling Podcast. We're here every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. It's all the updates and highlights in the world of wrestling. Find out who we think is going to win the week's matches. Al will hopefully be back next week to take over the hosting spot. If not, I will be here once again, filling in while he makes his ice castles. We do have a Bound for Glory special coming up sometime in the month of October. We do have some scheduling conflicts that we're working through, so we'll let you know when that comes out. But we do have one of those coming up. And with that said, John Smith, anything to add before we get out of here?
No, I got nothing for you today.
Okay. John DeConnie, anything?
No, I think we've hit on it all this week.
Well, then, for the first time since I've hosted this show, I will correctly remember to ask John DeConnie to take us home.
Thank you for joining us. And as always, we wish you the best in all your future endeavors.